In all of your years of like being a founder,
Yeah.
building businesses, smaller, bigger,
Yeah.
what's one thing that is the most important while sort of starting the business?
Embracing the fact that you are up to a big challenge that you really don't know what is out there in front of you. But embracing this kind of almost a fighting mindset that no matter what will come in front of me, I will face it, I will solve it, and then we'll move on. Or I will change, strategy. I will be pivoting, but being able really to embrace the challenge.
How your personal journey would change if you would know that what you just said?
I would have had better sleeping at night. When I started some of these or joined these businesses, I had a wanderer mindset instead of a fighter mindset. The wanderer mindset was like, oh, I wonder how this could work out, oh, yes, we can do this, we can do that. And it's amazing, because you wonder a lot, you use your mind, and it feels like you're flying, okay? But then, bam, you hit against the wall of reality. That can be an issue because sometimes you're not expecting it and you're not mentally prepared for it, and you have this sense of this kind of sense of failure, or that you're doing everything is wrong. While if you have a fighter mindset, I think that you know that you're going to face difficulties. So whatever happens, at least you're ready for it, and you know that you can recover. You know that it is just another battle, but it is okay. Knowing that when I started, it would have saved me a lot of disillusion and a lot of moments of thinking, oh, I've done everything wrong and I just want to walk out of this, that would have helped a lot to avoid these awful moments.
For everyone who never heard about you, tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're coming from, and what kind of business you are building.
I started my professional journey in Italy. My background is software engineering. I've been wearing many hats, really. I've been working as a contractor, as an employee for big organizations, also being a technical co-founder. As soon as I finished uni, I studied computer science. I started working on a very interesting project. There was a fashion technology project. So imagine like embedding some electronic components inside a clutch bag. So a very small bag, a woman's bag specifically, that has got like a fingerprint scanner. So it can be opened only with a fingerprint scanner. Also, it is connected to your phone, so you can track it if you lose it and everything, and a lot of different features. So that one was really my first kind of startup entrepreneurial experience as a technical co-founder. I always call this as an experience gym, because you are basically training, you are training for life, you are training for your professional career, you're training for a lot of things. Of course, I was young and naive, and I thought that the technology was everything. It turned out that execution and being able to listen to your first users is really important. So that is a hard lesson that we learned. We were completely bootstrapped, no external money, no investment, completely bootstrapped. And long story short, we never sold a bag, but we sold a part of the technology to an aerospace company because they were really interested in the level of detail that we reached on the PCB, the printed circuit board that we have developed in partnership with a Swiss company. And in the last, I would say, 2-3 years, I've been working on many different businesses where I was the technical co-founder.
How do you manage your time?
I think it is a mix of art and science, really.
Okay.
Basically, deep focus is necessary. But how to do it is to understand each week how much you can allocate for each project. Because depending on what is happening, some projects, they might require more attention than other ones. I have to say that compared to the past, I've learned to slow down a little bit, think more before actually doing things, which helps a lot to save a lot of time. So the right way to manage time, it is assigning the right priorities and having a clear plan and trying to stick to it as much as possible, but being flexible with it. So just have 5 days really planning, not more than that, because things can change really quickly, especially in the startup world.
On the personal level, what motivates you in life?
building things that have a meaning and an impact on society. That's what really motivates me. I don't have special abilities. I don't have special skills. I'm good at building stuff and solving problems. And solving problems is really part of building something, because when you build something, you're solving issues. You're constantly applying your problem-solving skills. It's not just converting more sales. It's not about improving just little niche of people health or financial position. It's more about having a real impact on society.
Why do you guys do what you do with the smart ergonomics? Where was that idea that we do it?
There was a very, very important research done by the University of Leicester, which found that sitting is really the new smoking, and it's not just a slogan, it is the truth. Because if you're sitting for a prolonged time and you don't move and you are in a very rigid position, which happens, especially to people who sit in front of the computer and everything, there is a higher chance of getting, for example, heart diseases, and having also issues with your bones, with your muscles and everything. And also it has an impact on your overall well-being from a mental health point of view. So the need here, it is to being able to tell to the end user that they need to move more. They don't have to lean too much, for example, on one side, because even if it is a micro movement, over a prolonged time, every day for years, it's going to damage, for example, your spine or your ability to move your shoulders. It is something that was really observed, that prolonged sitting, it is damaging health in the long term. Nick, who is the original founder, having a lot of experience in this field, he observed that even if people get an ergonomics chair, they don't use it properly, but more importantly, they don't move enough.
There is probably plenty ergonomic chairs. How yours is different than the rest of them?
Because our chair has got embedded sensors, so it is able to capture and record the movements or how long you're sitting, and it is connected also to an app that gives you an overview of what you're doing, how much you're sitting. It gives you also some suggestions, like, for example, well, 40 minutes have been passed, you should stand up now. Or it helps you to keep track really of your sitting habits in a way also that you can interconnect, for example, with your health applications on your phone. We're currently working on powering our application with some elements of machine learning so that it can learn from the individual user behavior. And by learning, it is able to give the end user a much more, I would say, custom suggestions, because each day, each week, each user are different. Say, for example, okay, today you've been sitting for 8 hours. In order to improve your posture or to recover from this prolonged sitting, you should do these activities.
So what, it gives you as well the exercises that you need to do based on how much time you've spent sitting. So if I spend sitting, let's say 4 hours, there are certain types of exercises that I should do to sort of improve my spine or like well-being in general. If I've sat down for 8 hours or 12 hours, it's probably more time, or I need to walk more or something like that, correct?
Yes, exactly. And I will give you a very good example that is based on my personal experience. I used to work in a very non-ergonomic environment when I was working for the previous startups. And I remember spending like 2 years, probably between 6 and 10 hours per day in front of the computer, sitting on a chair that it wasn't great, and with a desk that it wasn't great. And I remember having a lot of shoulders pain. I remember also having a lot of back pain. As soon as I started having, I've got like a stand-up desk, so it can go up and down. My overall health, especially related to my back issues, it definitely improved, but it improved like exponentially. And just a little change. So going from sitting for a very long time with a desk that it wasn't really for me to a stand-up desk, it changed everything. If you talk to everyone who is sitting in an office or working from home, you will notice that a lot of people are struggling with the shoulders, back pain, neck pain. And these are just the clues, that you can see in Italy. But when it comes to your mental health and your heart conditions, you cannot see them, and they're more longer term, really.
Are you looking for funding?
Yes, we're looking for funding, but our strategy to funding is a bit different from the average startup because we already have a lot of interest from potential B2B partners. Now, we need to choose which one of these partners really want to commit in the longer term in order to say, okay, our B2B partner, they put the money into the business in order for us to develop a product that will adapt to their kind of use cases. So our kind of funding strategy is not, going to an angel investor or raising funds or an accelerator. It is building within an established business that has control over the distribution channels.
How do you guys approaching the partnerships then?
Well, Nick has a lot of knowledge in the industry, so he has a very extensive network of contacts. And at the moment, we are using his contacts in order to get the right attention from the businesses. You need to get out of your office as soon as possible, get out there and let people try your products, collect feedback, change. Changing now is easier than changing later.
100%, but it's not only in hardware. Even if you're building a SaaS business or really any business, you need to go and find, the problem that people have and figure out whether they actually want it to be solved, because some problems there are just being okay, being there, sort of. It's not a big pain, right? Where are you guys now? What's the stage of the business at the moment?
We are 80% of the completion of our MVP. I'm working on the final version of the smartphone app, which is taking longer than expected because we want to share health data with other apps, So, for example, Google Health, or you've got your Apple version, so that you can keep track of your overall habits. And also, we need to be really careful because we need to collect the data in an anonymous way and making sure that it's not possible, to associate it with an individual. And the other important step is integrating the machine learning system, which will be similar to our recommender system.
If you would start that business again, what would you change in your approach?
Probably we will start talking immediately to potential B2B partners in order to establish partnerships and build together since month 1 instead of from month 8 or 9.
A lot of people will struggle with this, thinking, okay, how can I approach B2B partnerships if I don't have a product, I have just an idea, right? Like, how would you do it?
First of all, you need to choose your B2B partners really carefully. The good thing is that Nick has trusted relationships thanks to his experience, 15 years of experience in the industry. So ideally, you should have someone that or someone from your team is really good in that industry and has very solid relationships. That is the first approach. The second approach is that if you are new to the kind of industry, for example, you don't know where to start from, you can start by trying to have them to sign an expression of interest. The expression of interest is stating, that they are interested in what you're doing, but they don't commit too much to it. And at the same time, you're protecting yourself because you say, hey, look, I made these B2B party informed of my intentions, and we would like to work together ideally in the future. That helps a lot also for any kind of investment if you're raising funds. But really, the best thing that you can do is just go out of the office and talk to people or having Zoom calls, whatever. That is something that is really important when you're a founder. The risk is to be obsessed with the product instead of being obsessed with solving the right problem with the right tools for and with the right people.
Well, yeah, that's the difficult part, obviously. But yeah, you do have a point here. Excellent point, actually. How do you guys plan to generate revenue?
So at the moment, we are thinking about generating revenue in 2 ways. On one side, it is about developing and embedding the technology, the sensors, and all the entire system for our B2B partners. So that is one way of generating revenue. On the other side, is about getting money for basically providing metadata, so anonymized data about the user behaviors to existing research companies that in the long term, they can access this pool of metadata and understanding how this has an impact on society, on the health, and everything else. So that would help a lot researchers, really.
How do you feel the ergonomics of how do you sit influence your health?
You see, our body, if you look at our spine, it's not like a vertical, thing like this. It has like some natural bending. Okay, so our spine, it goes like an S, basically, right? So this is the result of years of evolution in order to find the ideal posture. By sitting so long, we are compromising this natural posture that took thousands of years of evolution to find the optimal balance. By not sitting properly from a health point of view, especially related to our muscles and bones and everything, you are applying micro variations to your spine. That's in the short term, they have no effect. In the long term, they have a huge effect. We already have seen new types of neck pain that is developing, especially with phones, that you stay like this. Yeah. Or also by not having the computer at the right height. So for example, if you are on an ergonomics chair, okay, but you're sitting at a desk and you have your laptop, and the laptop, it is on the same horizontal level, okay, of your desk, so it's touching the desk, you're probably going like this, okay, which is really bad also for your posture. So the devil here, it is in the detail, in how you can improve all the micro movements in order to improve your posture. I will tell you something that Nick discovered quite lately, that people, for example, with ADHD, people they tend to they basically tend to move a lot the legs and they basically shake their legs, for example, or even if you are in a rush, for example, you tend to shake your leg while you are sitting, actually that helps. That helps with your blood flow. Movement is natural. And if you're sitting for a long time, that is going to affect also your ability to focus. It's going to affect your ability, also your mental clarity, really. And so it can have long-lasting effects on your mental health. And then if you're sitting, you're not moving, which has an effect also on your heart. Therefore, it means you should definitely stand up and do something.
So basically, this recording is not really healthy for me.
Yeah, but you can do something after it. So you can move more in order to try to catch up with the little damage that we've been doing to yourself. When you buy an ergonomics chair, you need to be very considerate of the quality of that. Because in the short term, you don't notice the differences, but in the longer term, it can save you a lot of money in rehab or physio or, painkillers, really.
If you be a president of the world and you could change one thing, what that would be?
I would change education, because by empowering people, you empower societies. Education can empower people to start their own businesses. And the current model, it is get a very good piece of paper and get a job, which is not very empowering. It is just be a gear in this big system that is already there. But we need innovators. We need bold people. And everything starts from especially younger education. The peak of creativity in humans, it is between the age of 8 years old and 25 years old. You have this very narrow gap where you need to basically teach kids, teenagers and young people how to be successful and how to build, how to create something that will add value. And the current education system is not working, because it is just creating job seekers who are frustrated with the system.
Do you believe that actually the educational system can produce more entrepreneurs? Do you believe that every single person is, from their DNA, built for building the businesses?
No, not every person can be an entrepreneur, because it is extremely consuming. So some people, they just don't want to be consumed, and I totally respect that because it is painful. So not every person can be an entrepreneur, but we need more entrepreneurs. That is for sure. Not every person can be an entrepreneur. Absolutely. But every person should try it at least once to start a business. That would teach you a lot. Even if it's not a success, it doesn't matter. You will lose time. Yes. You will lose money. Yes. Hopefully not. If really good, who knows? But yeah, you're probably this. He tells the truth. I always see entrepreneurship as a sport. You need to compete. You need to try. You need to lose. You need to appreciate the wins. And even if you lose one time and you say, no, it is not for me, I'm giving up, it's fine. At least you have done it. At least you have tried. So not everyone has the resilience to be an entrepreneur, but everyone should try to be it at least once.
I totally agree with you. I don't think there is anything that can teach you more about yourself and about the world than entrepreneurship. If you could ask someone about anything to help you within your life or with your business, what would that question be?
How can I help teach people to do that? That would be amazing. That would unlock so many opportunities because people are not aware of their skills, of their capabilities, or maybe they're stuck in a job, in a non-healthy relationship, in a lot of things that are stopping them from seeking the truth inside themselves.
Why are you not in the educational business?
I am. I've got kids.
Okay.
I am.
Okay. That's a fair point. That's a very fair point. Marco, thank you very much for this, for your time today, for sharing your story, for telling us about all of the stuff that you were struggling with. I'm hoping that a lot of people will, or who are trying to start a business or who are already building, they're on similar stage than you, that they learn something from you, because as we know, education is extremely important. Thank you.